serve to enhance our knowledge on various aspects of research and publication. Dr. Vikas Nath, Director and Professor of Marketing, Geeta Ratan International Business School, New Delhi, has more than 25 years of experience in teaching, research, academics, administration and industry. He had been in a leading role for the last 10 years and has worked in the capacity of Director and Dean of the institutions like Bharati Vidyapeeth University, Nordcap University and FDP University prior to joining the present institute. He has been involved in supervising PhD and MPhil scholars of various universities. Till date, he has supervised 3 MPhil students and 9 PhD scholars. He has also supervised award-winning projects to students of MBA and has rich experience of supervising cross-cultural teams of students abroad. He had also undertaken and completed a major project funded by UGC for an amount of 8 lakh rupees. Dr. Nath has organized more than 30 FDPs and more than 15 MDPs till now. He is on the editorial board of reputed national journals. He was awarded Best Director Award in 2014 and 15 for imparting entrepreneurship education by SOCM Gujarat chapter and Rajdhani Ratna Award by Kala Mandir. He has experience of NAC, NIRF, UGC 12B and QS ranking, QS1 rating procedure and has successfully defended NAC peer review teams for his institutions and was instrumental in getting A+ and A grades. Now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Abhijit Das sir to present welcome note to. Now I would like to invite Director sir for sharing his knowledge and experience with us. Welcome sir.
Starting before time. This very interesting topic, that is publishing in high impact journals. It's the need of the hour, and wherever we go we are talking of publications as far as progress of career of teacher is concerned, right? Over a period of time, when I say last 25 years, I myself have been seeing how things have been changing across the teaching line. And the publication started from high impact journals and later on went into index journals like Scopus, Web of Science and other types of important index journals. Today's topic is publishing in high impact journals, so I will be focusing on this. The structure of the presentation or the interaction will be that we are going to understand what different types of impact factors are, and then how to go about focusing on different journals so that we are able to publish. But before I start with this, there is a word of caution. Research is not only based on publishing in high impact factors. First thing is we have to learn how to do research, which is a cumbersome process and which is continuous process as a faculty member. Considering the environment which we face in the private sector, you have to be academic administrator as well as a teacher as well as a good researcher. So the management of private institution always says dil mange more and keep on giving more and more, right? So hence you as a faculty, you cannot say that I don't get time to publish, I don't get time to study. It is always a continuous process and it is a part of your personality. If you are a teacher, publication is a part of your personality. As a human being, we breathe. As a teacher, we publish. The nature of the publications can be different. One is publishing research papers. To start with easy articles first, then going for moving for publishing the research papers, starting from a low impact journal. How many papers in Scopus indexed? How many papers in Web of Science? How many papers in ABDC classification journals? So over a period of time, things have been changing, right? In order to have high impact factors, people have gone in for putting their papers in open access journals, where since it's an open access, publications are easy, they have been very fast over a period of time. People have gone in for charging a lot as far as publication is concerned, and they have gone in for creating high impact of their research papers. So we have come across many sites where they ask for the money and they publish your research paper within 7 days or 10 days, and you find your paper is getting a lot of citations, and hence its impact factor is very high. You should be very careful of these types of journals. Usually we find that good journals have impact factor ranging from 1 to 5, right? We say that we have a paper in a journal having an impact factor of 12 or 14, but then they may not be very good journals, right? But a good journal, which is a prestigious journal, will maybe having impact factor of say 2 or 3 only, right? Or 4. But publishing in those journals means that your credibility goes up. I hope with this introduction, many of the participants are with me. So I move on further. First thing first, publishing in high impact journals is essential for enhancing your research visibility. आप कोई चीज पेपर पब्लिश कर रहे हो, the moment people going for writing the keywords related to that particular area, your paper should emerge as the first 10 papers. If it is happening so, that means your paper has really made an impact in your area of subject where you are trying to publish the papers, right? So how things are working as far as impact factors are concerned, this is what we are going to discuss, and we are going to first of all understand why impact factor is important. But I am again and again saying that impact factor is important along with publishing in index journals, right? Because now the criteria is not only impact factor, you may be writing impact factor, but then they are also saying, have you published in Web of Science? What are the types of classifications the paper are having? So अब उन चीजों के ऊपर भी people have started asking questions when we go for interviews. Okay. So it is important basis for selection of a journal. The first thing is the journals have emerged because of all this. It is usually said that when you target a journal, they will also see that in your paper how many citations you have gone in for giving from their journal, right? So if you are publishing in journal A, ensure that you are also citing papers from journal A, because they would like to see whether you are an important audience of their journal or not. So if you are an important audience and you have been showing interest in their journal, and then you focus in publishing in their journal, the chances are that in the very first chance of the screening of your paper may get selected by the editor. Later on, what happens in the blind review or the peer review, which goes on for happening, is something different. Let's start with what is impact factor. As the formula says, it is citation in the current year to the articles from the past 2 years divided by total number of articles published in the past 2 years. Important this to understand this illustration. This is the illustration which we can understand from. We want to find what is the impact factor of a journal in 2020. It means it is citations that happened in 2019, citations that happened in 2018, divided by papers published in 2019 and papers published in 2018. To elaborate this further, this is how it goes. So for example, citations of 2019 are 1050, citations of 2018 are 1100, number of papers published in 2019 250, number of papers published in 2018 is 250. You are able to calculate the impact factor as 1050 plus 1100, that is these two citations of the last 2 years, divided by the total number of papers received in the last 2 years, put it in this formula to get the value of 4.3. Right? So that's the basic simple calculation of impact factor. Now let's move on to what are the different types of factors which we come across. We have a 2-year impact factor. So this was a 2-year impact factor that I explained. Then if we extend it to 5-year factor, 5 years of the citations divided by last 5 years of the papers received by the journal for publication. Right? Then you have eigenfactor, you have site score, you have H5 index that you see in the Google Scholar, you have SJR, that is Sci-Marco Journal Ranking, that gives you the ranking of the journal, and you have SNP that normalizes the citations across the journal. Apart from that, you also have a G index, and G index is related to your popularity in your research area. Right? आपके पेपर को कितनी citations मिली over the last 5 years, and it says G papers getting a citation of G square. ठीक है? अगर हमने आपके 50 पेपर देखे तो कितने पेपरों को 50 स्क्वायर की citations मिली? अगर हमने आपके 10 पेपर देखे लास्ट ईयर में तो कितने पेपरों को आपके 100 की citation मिली या उससे ज़्यादा मिली? That shows your popularity as far as you are concerned, right? So when I introduced G index to you, I was talking about you as an individual researcher. But at present, when I am talking of impact factor, I am talking of impact factor of a journal. Okay. So let's move ahead. What's the site score? So number of your site score. The number of citations in 2020 to the article which are published in 2019, 2018 and 2017 divided by total number of articles in those years. Is this clear? Okay. The number of citations in a year to the documents published in the last 3 years divided by number of documents published in last 3 years. So site score is basically talking of last 3 years in framework. Now this is very interesting, eigenfactor, and why it is important and how it is different from the impact factor. Let us try and understand. Say for example, you go in for publishing your paper in journal A, right? And other research scholars working in your area start citing it in different journals. Journal B, journal C, journal D and journal E. Paper publish हुआ A में और citation हुई B, C, D and the some citation also happened in A, right? तो ये फैक्टर क्या करता है? This considers every journal as a node. It considers every journal as a node, and then it tries to link your paper with the citations of your paper that happened in all other journals, and then try to create a site score, which is known as eigenfactor. Okay? So it's a very interesting thing. It is not only limited to one journal, but it is also expanding its scope to other journals, and then try to see how your journal is doing in comparison to other journals which may be highly reputed or which may be slightly low reputed as compared to the journal where you have published your paper. Okay? So that's how it is different. This definition, the eigenfactor score is a metric used to assess the overall influence and importance of a journal in the scientific community. It goes beyond simply counting the citations by considering the quality and context of those citations. Okay? It is based on the principle that not all citations are equal, and citations from highly influential journal carry more weight than those from a lesser known journal. आपने एक हाई जर्नल के अंदर साइट किया पेपर और वो हो सकता है लो जर्नल में पब्लिश हुआ हो, क्योंकि हाई उसके अंदर साइटेशन हो गया है तो उससे उसके ऊपर असर आना शुरू हुआ, राइट? आपने हाई साइटेशन जर्नल के अंदर पहले से पब्लिश किया हुआ है, लो साइटेशन वाले उसको कर रहे हैं तो उसके हिसाब से हाई इंपैक्ट जर्नल को भी फायदा मिलना शुरू हो गया, राइट? सो इट लिंक्स और इंटरलिंक्स विद अदर journals also. H5 index, all of you are publishing paper and you also see your I10 score and H5 index, right? So what exactly is this H5 index? Let's try and understand. And I will directly take you to an example first and then I move on to the definition so that you are able to link what H5 index means. So first, why H5? Because we are talking of 5 years. That's how it is called as H5, right? Now what does this H means? So H5 index of 50, it means that 50 articles published in the last 5 years have received at least 50 citations. तो अगर आपका H5 50 है, इसका मतलब आपके लास्ट 5 ईयर में जो 50 आर्टिकल्स पब्लिश हुए हैं उनकी साइटेशंस 50 से ज्यादा है, ठीक है? तो कईयों के एज फैक्टर्स बहुत ज्यादा देखने को मिलते हैं, ऑलमोस्ट 400 450। इसका अलावा आप ये अंडरस्टैंड करो कि मैंने जो लास्ट 5 इयर्स में पेपर पब्लिश किए हैं उनकी साइटेशंस 450 से ऊपर हो रही हैं, एंड दैट इज हाउ दैट पब्लिश पेपर इज गेटिंग cited by not many people, right? अच्छा, जब आप गूगल स्कॉलर के साथ लिंक रहते हो तो अगर आपका पेपर कहीं पे साइट हुआ है तो आपको ईमेल भी आती है, right? You get an email, and then once you go to that particular link, you will also be able to get to know कि कहाँ पे आपका पेपर साइट हुआ है, right? जैसे मेरा एक ग्रीन बैंकिंग के ऊपर पेपर है, उसके हर दूसरे दिन मेरे को एक ईमेल आती है, तो इतना ज़्यादा वाइडली सर्कुलेट हो रहा है पेपर that the citation score is increasing for that particular paper, right? And one paper for which I get almost 4 to 5 mails every month, so it is getting widely referred. उसी तरीके से अगर आपका पेपर भी उसी तरीके से हो रहा है तो गूगल वाले आपको they keep on sending you the emails, and this is what your H5 index basically means. Am I clear so far?
Yes.
So far so good?
Yes.
I think all of you are with me.
Yes.
Now, as far as Sai-Mago journal ranking is concerned, this is not related to the citation, but it is related to how the journal is performing. Now, before I explain the definition, let me first of all explain the formula to you, because it is related to the reputation of the journal, right? So, SGR says it is prestige of the journal I, which is calculated recursively, but again and again. They have a software, and on monthly basis or fortnightly basis they are calculating it. But when number of articles published in that particular journal, I, right? So they get a score which is a dynamic score and keeps on changing, right? तो आप किसी भी जैसे एल्सेवियर के आप होम पेज पे जाएं या वेब ऑफ साइंस के होम पेज पे जाएं तो आपको ये वैल्यूज एसजीआर की वहाँ पे देखने को मिलेंगी, right? So now let us come back to this definition. Sai-Mago journal rank is a metric that measures the scientific influence of the scholarly journals based on citation data. It considers both the number of citations received by the journals and the prestige of the journal. इनकी rankings निकलती हैं. तो prestige of the journal means वो किस ranking पे रहा है, right? और जैसे Lancet है medical के अंदर. Lancet is a very prestigious journal. Anything published in Lancet, they believe that yes, this is the latest that has happened in the medical science, right? And in most of the news also you must have heard that according to Lancet, this is the type of things which are happening. In the newspaper, when you read, most of the time you read the name of the journal Lancet, right? Diabetes के ऊपर कुछ नई आ रही है studies वगैरह, so mostly Lancet is referred. So this gives you basically the ranking of the journal, nothing to do with your citation or the citer. तो स्निप फैक्टर जो है वो across the journal उसको normalize करके एक आपको देता है, right? So irrespective of what type of citations different journals may be having, the SNP value goes in for normalizing across the journals and then give you one value, and hence it gives you a correct value in the subject area of the journals. जैसे marketing के journals हैं, right? Now we may be having 150 journals in the area of marketing. Some accept paper very easily, and some we are not able to publish at all, right? So it depends upon what type of journal it is. But if you have been able to publish in say journal A, it will go in for normalizing the score of the citation of that particular journal, right? And hence, whatever practices different journals may be following, it normalizes and gives you a value. So it is considered to be more reliable value. एक जर्नल में citation आपकी आई हुई है almost 80, but it may not be as good as a citation of say 5 in a very popular journal, right? तो ऐसी जो अलग अलग प्रैक्टिसेस चलती हैं उसको नॉर्मलाइज करने के लिए वो स्निप फैक्टर को भी देखते हैं. So if you have to compare from the sci-macro journal ranking or SNP, so we say that SNP is better because it is normalizing the things. Okay, but this is just an exposure to you of how things are happening as far as publication field is concerned, and what are the different types of indexing, what are the different types of citations, or what are the different practices as far as ranking of the journal is concerned. So I just gave you an exposure of all this. Details you can further go. I have also shown a comparative chart of how these things are working. The idea is that you should know what is the time frame. Impact factor can be from 2 or 5 years. Eigenfactor score is for 5 years. So anything going for 5 years gives you a more stable picture. 5 साल में जर्नल की क्या वैल्यू आ रही है, that is more stabilized and gives you a better input as far as that journal is concerned. Okay, so this is the comparative chart that I have tried to show. Impact factor basically goes in for average citations per article over 2 to 5 years. Eigen score measures overall journal influence using weighted citation network. Consider all journals as nodes. H5 largest number. H such that H articles have received at least H citations in last 5 years. आपके 10 आर्टिकल अगर 10 citations ले चुके हैं तो आपका H5 10 है. This is what you see in the Google Scholar, right? SGR it measures the journal prestige and influence using citation weighting, and SNP measures citation impact normalized for differences across the fields. The time frames have been given and calculation also has been suggested in the last column. Okay. Now let's see how do we compare the impact factors. So comparison matrix I have tried to explain it with the help of an example. Academy of Management Journal 2-year impact factor is 8.8, but 5-year impact factor may be 9.2. That means it is the most stable, and over a period of 5 years it has gone in for increasing its popularity. Right? People have shown more trust in that particular journal. At the same time, people have referred to that journal more and more in the 5 years time frame. Similarly, Strategic Management Journal 2-year impact factor 7.6, 5-year impact factor 8.1. If the impact factor over a period of 5 years have reduced, that means it is losing its popularity. Okay. Harvard Law Review 2-year impact factor 6.5, 5 years impact factor 6.8. Yale Law Journal 2-year impact factor 5.7 and 5-year impact factor 6.0. Right? So that's how you can see how 2-year and 5-year impact factors are varying, and accordingly you can find out what is the popularity of journal and what is the credibility of that particular journal. So again, these are the high impact factor journal which I was talking of. Types of impact matrix I have already shared with you. It is repeating again. Impact factor over 2 and 5 years. Eigen factor score I have explained. Measures per article impact over 5 years. So how your article performed over the last 5 years? It is your article influence score. तो वो आपके article से related score भी calculate करता अगर किया हुआ है. So that will let you know how your article have performed. Okay. Site score we have explained. H5 index I have done. Now immediacy index is another term coming up. That is citation count of articles in the same year of publication. जिस year वो publish हुआ उस year के अंदर कितनी उसकी citations हो गई. अगर जनवरी के issue में हुआ तो जनवरी से दिसंबर के बीच में उसकी कितनी citations हो गई. That is immediacy index. Okay. So now this gives you all comparison of whatever terms I have used so far with the time frame. So impact factor, eigenvalue, article influence score, site score, H5 index, I10, which you again see in the Google Scholar. It is the number of articles with at least 10 citations, right? In that year, एक साल के अंदर वो I10 हो जाता है. 5 साल के अंदर कितनी है उसकी? वो H5 हो जाता है. ठीक है? Now we come to the main important thing, how to select that particular journal, because our focus is publishing in high impact journal. So first of all, let's try and understand, we try to understand what is impact factor, what are the different types of metrics that are there, and then we are trying to understand how to publish in high impact journal. Okay. Now, first of all, I share my own experience with you. Targeting a good journal and publishing a paper in that means you have to be dedicated for at least 2 to 3 years for single article. Number one. Number two, if you have a good experience of publishing in high impact journals or highly reputed journals, then from third or fourth paper you may find that this time period may get reduced to 1.5 years, but not lower than this. If you are publishing in a journal which is free of cost and they don't charge you anything as far as their processing fees is concerned. So that's my experience as far as publications are concerned. Even if we are publishing in good UGC care journal which belong to group 1 and they are also listed in Scopus or Web of Science, it has taken 1.5 to 2 years to publish in those papers, and minimum one report comes to you where changes are asked to be done by the reviewer, right? So whatever changes the reviewer is asking you to do, you have to go in for implementing all those feedback which has been given to you. Okay. Even if you miss one, the chances are that in the next go your paper may get rejected. Okay. So you have to treat the inputs from the reviewer very seriously. Now what is happening, as we are publishing paper, they say you have to maintain the database also, right? Database of the data that you have collected through the questionnaire in the form of survey that you have conducted. You must be ready with that, and you have to give an undertaking that if required, you will be sharing that data with the editor of the journal if they ask for it, right? Now these are the types of practices that have come. So it means when you have started working for a paper and you have started collecting the data for that particular research which you are doing, whether it is during your PhD or post-PhD, you are guiding a scholar and the data is to be analyzed for the paper, you have to maintain the database with you because it can be asked by the editor of that particular journal, right? So gone are those days, we used to publish, we never maintained that data at the post publication also, but now they say that if we want, we can ask you for the data so as to see what type of calculations you have done with that data and what is the nature of that particular data, right? So if you are going in for publishing in a reputed journal, especially a journal which is indexed in Scopus or Web of Science and maybe having a reasonably good impact factor, please note that all this database should be maintained with you till the time your paper is finally published and appears in the hard copy or the soft copy on the portal of that particular journal. Okay? अभी last 2-3 years में when I have tried to publish, they have taken this undertaking from me. Okay? So that this is what I would like to share with you, that going for maintaining your database. So how to select scope and audience of the journal is very important. You should not be publishing your journal your paper in a journal in a way that you have written the paper first and then you search for a journal. Don't do that. It is usually said, search the journal first, see what type of papers are being published in that journal. If you find that this is a good type of topic that they are highlighting nowadays, select a topic, start working on it and focus that journal for publishing your paper. Now I am not saying focus on one journal. At least 2 or 3 journals should be selected. See what type of articles they are publishing. Then select your topic, or if you are already doing your PhD and your topic is fixed, then see which journals are focusing on those types of topics. They are the journals where you have to target, right? When you are preparing your paper, going for referring the research papers from that particular journal, so that in the references those journals are getting, those papers are getting highlighted, and the name of the journal is also getting highlighted, right? And follow the methodology of writing the paper which is being followed by the authors of that particular journal. तो क्या स्ट्रक्चर फॉलो कर रहे हैं, लैंग्वेज का पैटर्न क्या है, रेफरेंसिंग स्टाइल क्या है, वो सारी चीजें उस जर्नल की आपको फॉलो करते हुए अपने पेपर को उसी हिसाब से आपको डेवलप करना होगा, राइट? एंड देन व्हेन यू आर सबमिटिंग दैट पेपर इन द जर्नल ऑन द पोर्टल, whatever is asked in that portal, going for writing it properly and mention everything in that particular section. Okay, abstract क्या होगा उसको अच्छे तरीके से वैसे ही डालना है आपको. अच्छा, now sometimes it so happens that the novice researchers, that means those who have started doing the research recently, they may not be very much conversant with how to do research, right? So you have different services available in the market. Say for example, you have gone for framing, you have gone for writing your paper according to the structure which is to be followed in that particular journal. Now going for giving your paper to that service provider who will take care of the language of your paper. Usually these service providers should be taken from an outside country who may be charging you in dollars or in pounds. But once they work on your paper, the chances of your paper getting screened becomes 90%. मतलब उसको इसकी selection के अंदर chances ये हैं कि आपका 90% paper screening के अंदर pass करेगा, right? This we have seen when we jointly published one paper, Manpreet and myself. You will find that that paper is there on Google Scholar also. We went in for giving that paper to one person in UK. So equivalent he charged us 6,000 rupees. पर वो paper जब हमने share किया journal के साथ, तो immediately वो screening pass कर गया और आगे उसके अंदर हमको सिर्फ एक उसने research based question पूछा था जो हमने clear किया and it got published. Remember one thing, research is a collaborative effort. No longer it remains an individual effort at this point of time. Okay? But then if you go in for having 6, 7, 8 authors written at the top of the research paper, this also is not being liked by the editor of the journal. So number of authors should not exceed 3 to 4. That's a good number which is usually there. Understanding that 3 to 4 authors know what they have contributed in that particular paper and what exactly that paper required their contribution for. Say for example, one author is working on the methodology, the other is working on the language, third may have gone in for collecting the data but has not contributed over and above that, right? And fourth has gone in for framing that particular paper in the structure that it is required, right? Or maybe having linked with the editor where he wants to send that particular paper for publication. तो इस तरीके से हर कोई जो 4 ऑथर्स हैं वो कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं पेपर पब्लिश करने के अंदर. This is how publication work is happening nowadays. Okay, so we are doing that. I think you are moving in the right direction. If you are going alone, things are that you will fumble and you may find publication very difficult in days to come, because one person doesn't have expertise of everything that will be able to collect data. Also, he knows all methodologies of analysis of data. He also knows the methodology of putting the paper in the right structure, and he has a highly excellent English writing skills. ये सारी चीजें एक ऑथर के अंदर मिलना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, ठीक है? इसी की वजह से हम लोग फंबल भी करते हैं कभी-कभी. So the moment we take some services, which are professional services, from outside, things become very easy. Sage में अगर आप टारगेट कर रहे हो तो Sage में भी कंटेंट राइटिंग के अंदर सपोर्ट सर्विसेज मिलती हैं. You visit their site, they will let you know that these services are available. You take their service, submit your paper to them, they'll modify it, and then when you send to some Sage journal, you will find that your paper is getting selected. It is moving fast as far as screening is concerned. Okay? So scope of the journal is important. Review submission guidelines are very important. How you have to go in for showing your referencing, which style of referencing are they following, whether it is API referencing as far as management is concerned, or ILI referencing as far as law is concerned. So what type of referencing style is being followed? You have to follow that particular referencing style. Review timeline and acceptance rate. If you visit YouTube, you will come across some journals of Elsevier or Scopus which will let you know that they will publish a paper in less than 6 months. Okay? So fast publication, how they are being done and which are those reputed journals that goes in for fast publication, everything is available on YouTube. It is very dangerous to have this type of practice. कि आप एक ही पेपर को टाइटल बदलो या थोड़ा सा उसमें कंटेंट बदलो और आप 2 जर्नल्स के अंदर सबमिट करो. Avoid doing this. That means what I am saying is कि आप एक पेपर जब बना रहे हो तो उसको एक जर्नल के अंदर टारगेट करो. If you find it is taking too much of time, withdraw that paper and send it somewhere else. So withdrawal is important, and then some resubmission into some other journal is to be taken care of. Okay? So that type of practices should be avoided nowadays. Use professional language editing services, what I was telling you. So these people are, some are there in India in same publication, some are abroad in US and UK. They may charge you in dollars and pounds, but it is worth paying them. Your chances of screening of the paper becomes better and its selection happens in a better manner. Ensure proper citation of sources. So you may be using software like Mendeley, right? So they go in for giving you proper citations, and respond to reviewers' feedback promptly and thoroughly. जैसे review आया, ensure that within 10 days or 15 days you are able to resubmit the paper with all those changes. Don't delay it further. So common mistakes that authors make: submitting to predatory journals, or be very careful of this. Incomplete or non-compliant submissions. आपका उसने बोला headings किस फॉर्म में करनी है, किस font size में करनी है, कैसे करनी है, और आपने उसको फॉलो नहीं किया है तो पहले स्क्रीनिंग के अंदर ही it will get rejected, right? And you will get those types of reviews also. Then ignoring reviewer feedback, again it is not advisable, and over reliance on jargon and technical terms. तो जब आप प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज को रेफर करते हो तो दे नो व्हाट टाइप ऑफ वर्ड्स एंड सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर शुड बी यूज्ड एज फार एज इंग्लिश इज कंसर्न्ड. यूजिंग अ यूएस इंग्लिश इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम यूजिंग अ ब्रिटिश इंग्लिश. So see what the journal is using. Is it using a British English or is it using a American English, right? So that is to be taken care of. Now these are some of the problems and these are some of the suggested solutions which should be followed when you are putting your paper in different journals. If there is a high rejection rate, you have been submitting it in one journal again and again and there is a rejection rate coming up, improve your manuscript quality, seek peer reviews and target appropriate journals. हो सकता है जहाँ पे आप भेजते हो उसका स्कोप ही मैच नहीं करता वहाँ पर, right? It is out of the scope of that particular journal. So therefore it is having a rejection rate. So improve your manuscript quality, seek peer reviews and target appropriate journals which can accept your paper. Non-compliance and journal guidelines, thoroughly review and adhere to submission guidelines before submission. This we have already discussed. Language and grammar issues, use professional editing services. For that, your English may not be that good, the punctuations, use of punctuations may not be that good, and hence you should be using language and grammar services. Okay. आप thesis भी अपना जमा करवाते हैं ना? If you are doing your PhD, right? Those of you who have enrolled in PhD and are about to submit their PhD, it is advisable that you give your PhD thesis to a professional language editor, and he will go in for improving your per page of the thesis on target basis. Registered in PhD. Your PhD document is a lifetime document that will be getting created only once in the life. ठीक है? आपको कभी भी अपना PhD thesis दूसरे के हाथ में देने में शर्म नहीं आनी चाहिए. You should always be proud that here is my thesis and I am handing over to you to read so that you learn something from it, right? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि हमने थीसिस बनाया और अब कल को कोई हमसे थीसिस मांगता है तो हमें उसको देने में भी शर्म आए या we think that no, I should not be sharing my thesis with anyone else. When I wrote my thesis, it is in different libraries and I share the thesis with my scholars. And they see the type of language, they see the type of hypothesis done, they see what is limitation, what is delimitation, what is scope, what is implication. उससे उनको idea लगता है कि किस तरीके से thesis की development की गई. So your thesis should be a valuable document that adds to the development of the other scholar who may be your scholar working under you, right? So therefore the language part is very important. Methodology part is also very important. Difficulty in selecting the right journal, use journal finder tools like Elsevier Journal Finder and Scopus Journal Finder. तो वो आपको बताएंगे Scopus Journal Finder के अंदर कौन सा जर्नल जो है वो आप कीवर्ड्स डालो वो आपको बता देगा कि ये जर्नल्स हैं जो इन कीवर्ड्स के ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं. So that becomes your target journal and you can start working on that. So challenges and solution. This has been covered in the previous one. This is the last slide. We have to survive in the teaching fraternity. Publishing is very important. Understanding that things are becoming difficult in days to come as far as appointment of the faculty is concerned and as far as their promotions are concerned, publication still becomes more important. As far as accreditations are concerned, whether it is NIRF, whether it is NAC, whether it is NBA, publication is becoming more important. Hence, gaining this skill set and gaining the skill sets in a collaborative manner is the need of the hour. Okay. With this particular session gets over and I am open to questions from your side. Any questions please? Online, offline? Because it's a new normal now. I hope I have been able to give you an overview of what is impact factor, what are different types of metrics, as well as what precautions are to be taken care of. Experienced researchers know about it and novice researchers should know about it. And I think as you do the publications, you will come across these challenges. And how to come out of those challenges, you will be having new experiences. Because things keep on changing every day. Okay. Yes, please.
So there are questions online.
Yes.
They're asking them to unmute, so they will ask.
So the question is how to avoid predatory journal, how to know if it is a book journal.
See, first thing first, in order to avoid predatory journal, please move to the official website of the index journal. Say for example, if the journal is claiming to be a Scopus index journal, visit the Scopus website, look for the name of the journal there. Please take the ISSN number of the journal or the EISSN number of that journal and match it with the predatory journal also, right? Second thing is, visit the website by putting the exact name of the journal and see what all details have been given on that particular website. So match it with the details given on the main portal. If it is a Elsevier journal or if it is a Scopus journal, then they have a formal website, formal portal, put the name there and also compare it with the website of the journal. Secondly, if possible, talk to the advisory board of that journal and that will give you a fair idea of what the journal is doing. Okay, I hope I've been able to give the answer.
Dear participants, are there any other questions?
You can unmute
Yes,
yourself.
sir. Yes, sir. Namaskar, I am Devendra Upadhyay from Galgoria University.
Yeah.
So I want to ask that we have I would like to ask that the privatization of electric sector, like power sector, was first introduced due to the registration of Capital Electric Writing Act in 1897, which was referred from the PWD files of the West Bengal State Archives. and we have able to found this because of the generative AI what we have learned from your institution. But now the question arises that only 2 papers have cited which are not in Scopus database, and how it will affect my publication in high impact journal, because this is a very important, because no such paper has been detailedly covered about the privatization of electric sector in any Scopus Indian journal or any reputed journal or any database.
First thing first, where have you published that paper and have you found it to be a predatory journal?
On Sage, it was on Sage, and it was on Sage publication, and it was in Sage publication. It was not indexed in Scopus.
Okay. See, Sage is a reasonably good publication database. Not all of their papers are Scopus indexed, so you don't have to worry about that. Sage papers are accessible to other authors through their journals, right? So Sage journal circulation is very good, both in India and abroad. Now, the journal in which your paper has got published, what is the circulation of it? Please get in touch with Sage Publication, and I think they will be able to tell you where their journals are getting circulated. But if it's a publication in Sage, don't worry. Please find out whether it is a UGC care journal or not, because many Sage journals are UGC care journals also. I just want to know what is your fear about your publication?
Sir, I have not published because I am making the literature review on my electric on reforms in power sector.
Okay.
So that with the help of the generative AI which is being taught here right now, with the help of that we are able to find out how many roads that privatization reform was taken previously in India.
Okay.
So that was the reason that, and only it was the original paper was in archive was CWD files which are present in West Bengal State Archive.
Right.
But only 2 papers.
What exactly is you have not published any paper at present?
I have not published papers right now, but I am writing
See, when you are using an archive and you are citing that archive in your paper, I think you are not doing anything wrong, first of all. The second thing is that when you are publishing your paper, please ensure that it is in a journal which is either Scopus Index or ABDC Index or UGC Care, and you are there in the Indian University. Belgotia is also a NAAC accredited institution. So now we have to look for a journal which is UGC Care Group 1 or Group 2 as well as in the Scopus Index. So your publication will be fine. 1 or 2 referencing from the archives which you are talking of will not make a difference. Follow their citation referencing style, and also follow the articles which are being published in reputed journals. Now, if I get to understand that not many journals are there from where you can extract the articles, then we need to find out the names of those journals. Perhaps it sometimes so happens that our knowledge is limited and we may not be knowing about those journals. I can share one experience with you as far as my supervision experience goes. When I was supervising a paper on green banking, right? So my scholar used to say, sir, the paper ही नहीं मिलते हमको, right? And when he was told about different databases where these things can be found, he was able to find n number of papers from that database. So your supervisor should be able to tell you where most of the power sector papers can be found, right?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So there is another question on the chat. Sometimes journals are not shown on the website of the journal. What we have to do in that case?
See, if they are not shown on the website of the journal, please be careful. Write an email to the editor of the journal and raise your concerns with the editor. and get the answer from him. Usually nowadays, since we are also working on indexing of the journal and getting our journal approved from UGC, all journals need to have a dedicated portal, number one, of submission. Number two, the latest copy of the journal should be available on the website of the institution from where it is getting published. Hence, if your journal is not found on the website, if you are trying to look for, you have to be very careful with that journal. Don't go in for it. I hope I am clear. Please reply.
Thank you, sir.
I told you, they reply.
Yes, anything else?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Dear participants, do you have any other questions? Then we'll be winding up the session and we'll continue in the next session. I think that
Everything is done?
I will join at 11:30. Yes, we'll join at 11:30.